Hi guys, this is gsn.com and I want to start by thanking you for the large number of views we got for the Motorola Edge 20 unboxing. And now it's time for the Motorola Edge 20 Pro unboxing. It's basically the flagship of the Motorola Edge 20 triplet, which includes the Motorola Edge 20, 20 Pro and 20 Lite. And it's ready for big screen gaming, video calls and more. It's not just a phone here, there's actually more. The price should be around $700, if not $750, and aside from the handset, we get a ready for cable. So the device was unveiled this month, it's still rather fresh in August, and let's start with the cable first. You can use it, it goes from USB-C to HDMI, and you can connect instantly the phone to a TV set or display, but this is just an optional accessory because you can also do the connection nowadays via wireless. There's ready for wireless and ready for PC, and this is what the cable is like. It feels like a typical cable from USB-C here to HDMI here with golden ports. Okay, so this is one of the few handsets out there which offers video out for its USB-C port. Nowadays, not many other phones are offering this feature. Okay, so let's put this aside and focus on the star of the show, the Motorola Edge 20 Pro. Okay, so it should be pretty familiar to the Motorola Edge 20, except for the camera part where it has a serious upgrade. It's the very first Motorola phone which comes with a periscope camera here. A periscope camera means that it angles the light at 90 degrees to create a better way of zooming in this cramped space of a smartphone. So as you can see, we have a triple camera and also 108 megapixel shooter, which we've seen before on the Motorola Edge from last year. And in spite of the name Edge, which used to mean in 2020 a very curved screen, this one has a flat display. I'm going to fire it up, and I'm pretty happy that we have the beautiful color version here. There are two other colors, but none of them as exciting as this one. There's midnight blue, there's blue vegan leather and iridescent cloud. It's probably obvious that this is the iridescent cloud. Let's actually see if it's written on the box anywhere which color version this is. My money is on the iridescent cloud, probably. Yes, iridescent cloud it is. Okay, getting back to the device, you shouldn't worry because I've already set it up, so we won't go to any painstaking process of inputting Wi-Fi passwords or passwords in general. I have to say that the device is rather flat, so it's easy to grip. The whole flat trend was started or restarted by the iPhone 12 series, and it's pretty grippable. When I played around with the Motorola Edge 20, I kept comparing it to a Galaxy Note, maybe the Note 2 or the Note 3. This persists here, but I would also say it's rather similar with the iPhone 12 Pro Max with all those flat edges, and this color reminds me of the Galaxy Note 10 and its gradient look. Now, back to the unboxing. First of all, we have a case which protects the device and keeps it clear so you can see its beautiful color. Then we have here the following. Okay, so legal information and regulatory information. We also have here the manual with all the useful stuff. I was actually looking for the SIM key, but it's here. It's a metal SIM key used to access the slots. This is the cable which goes from USB-C to USB-C, and finally the charger, which I expect to be the same one from the Motorola Edge 20, a 30-watt accessory with an USB-C connector. That's everything available inside the box. Keep in mind that in some countries there are special offers. For example, in Eastern Europe, the device is being offered with a pair of Bang & Olufsen BeoPlay headphones as a present, or even a Fitbit Lux. That happens in Romania, just so you know. So if you're jealous, you should know that some people are getting gifts with this $700 phone. Okay, so I think that it's pretty clear what we're getting here as far as the accessories are concerned. Let's not waste time and get straight to it. This is the device, and I feel it can be a bit brighter screen-wise. If you want to talk about the materials, now at the front we obviously have glass, and this glass has the Gorilla Glass 5 protection. At the back side we should also have glass here, a beautifully colored one. And the frame, well, it's not written anywhere if it's plastic or aluminum. My money is on an aluminum skeleton covered with a glossy plastic, which you can see here. I can also spot an extra button here, which if I press, triggers Google Assistant, and also the regular buttons, the volume ones, and this rather large power button which integrates the fingerprint scanner. If I put my finger here, no dice. If I put this finger here, it unlocks the device pretty fast. Now, if you want measurements, it's 8mm in thickness, which is actually not that bad. I'm thinking it goes higher a bit on account of the camera protrusion. It weighs 190 grams, also not bad, and I think it's time we discussed other aspects, like for example the screen. What you're watching here is an OLED panel, 6.7 inches, displays 1 billion colors, full HD resolution, and it has a 144 Hz refresh rate as well as HDR10 plus support. I'm actually going to, not now, I'm going to check the whole refresh rate thing, so you can see the settings associated to it. Display refresh rate is set to auto, so it uses the AI to set the optimal refresh rate. You can set it to 60 Hz or 144 Hz, which is useful in games like, I don't know, Dead Cells maybe. Moving further, we're going to have a glance inside the phone, but we're not dissecting it, we're just talking about the CPU. In spite of what it says here, it's actually the Qualcomm Snapdragon 870 7nm CPU. We've also seen it on the Vivo X60 Pro, Moto G100, Poco F3. It's basically a Snapdragon 865++. It's a relative of that CPU with an even higher clock rate. And we also have 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage, and it's UFS 3.1 storage, just so you know. I'm not very sure if we're getting a micro SD or not. We'll have to check and get back to you with that. And actually I feel brave enough to do the checking right now, so here we go. Okay, doing a little operation here, and that's the tray which comes out from the bottom. I see it's gently sealed, so there is a water repellent protection for sure. On the one hand, this side up, we have the SIM, and on the other hand, the second SIM. I don't quite see any room or indication of a micro SD, just two SIMs. But I may be wrong, so feel free to correct me, even though I have a feeling that we got the gist of it. Okay, now we're back to the phone itself. I mentioned the RAM, storage, I mentioned the screen. I should probably also start talking about the battery, because it's rather similar to the one you just saw on the Motorola Edge 20. It's a 4500 mAh unit with 30 watt charging. Sadly, on the speaker front we only have one at the bottom. You can see it right here. Quite a few holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 if I'm counting correctly. Usually there's 5 or 6, so there's that. And also next to it a microphone, USB-C port, and the SIM tray you saw before. At the top side just a microphone, so we don't have stereo speakers. That's basically the gist of what I was saying before. Aside from that, we don't have an audio jack, and the fingerprint scanner is on the side. And on the connectivity front, you're receiving a 5G, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.1, GPS dual band, NFC, and USB-C 3.1. The cutout here at the top, the punch hole, integrates a 32 megapixel selfie camera, and the show starts at the back side. The inscription says 108 megapixel, and that's the main camera. That one has f1.9 aperture and face detection autofocus, so that's nice and all. But the Periscope one is the more interesting one. It's an 8 megapixel shooter with 5x optical zoom, optical image stabilization, face detection autofocus, and it goes up to 50x in zoom. And finally, there's also the ultra-wide 16 megapixel camera, which takes shots at 190 degrees and 119 degrees and helps you with your macro shots. This pair of cameras can film in 8K 24 frames. There's a dual LED flash here, and a special microphone here which has audio zoom, so if you're recording an orchestra you can really zoom onto a single instrument to highlight it. This is the camera interface. Nothing you haven't seen before if you've seen a Motorola handset. There's options like spot color, panorama, cinematograph, cutout, ultra res, portrait, night vision, and pro. I'm actually curious about the whole 8K thing. I'll believe it when I see it. So resolution, yes, 8K is available aside from 4K and Full HD, and it switches automatically to 24 frames per second when you do that. So that's nice. Okay, so I think this is about it. I think I'm going to force the resolution a bit and force the zoom, skipping to 50x. That's the maximum level of zoom. And there's also an extra window here, which while you're zooming helps you with the positioning of the subject, which was seen on Samsung phones. Now, I don't think I forgot anything here, maybe except for the software. As expected, this is Android 11, and Motorola's only involvement, aside from the camera interface, is this My UX section with all these personalization options, colors, icon shapes, and whatnot. And we also have the gestures, quite a few of them. And aside from that, we have the display section with a pic display and attentive display, which replace always on display. And finally, the gaming features for the gamers and also the audio effects. Game time is a collection of functions for gamers, like accidental touch, do not disturb, and block calls, and so much more. Now, when it comes to the whole wireless thing, there's Ready For here, and keep in mind once again that aside from the one with the cable, there is a wireless one, so you can connect to your PC via wireless and use the phone as a webcam, or connect via cable or wireless to a monitor and turn this phone into a desktop replacement. It will create an environment used to do some gaming, watch videos, do video calls, or simply browse around and do office stuff. I think this is pretty much it. One quick mention for the 960 frames per second slow motion feature here. We have low light AI selfie and a lot more features which I'm going to explore. So far I'm impressed by the flat edges, which help with the grip a lot, and by the promising periscope camera. And of course, this flashy design is where it's at. It reminds me of the Vivo X60 Pro and the Galaxy Note 10. If you have something else, another device which this reminds you of, you have the comment section. Feel free to post it. Okay, so once again, thank you for the almost 40,000 views we got on the Motorola Edge 20 unboxing. I'll be back with a full review very soon for this one and the Edge 20. This was the Motorola Edge 20 Pro unboxing. Bye bye.